After launching the Realme 9i in January, Realme has just announced two new smartphones to add to its 9 series. We all expected the Realme 9 Pro to show up sooner or later. What we did not expect was the Realme 9 Pro Plus model. Yes, there's now a Realme 9 Pro Plus. So what is this Pro Plus name all about? And what does this new smartphone bring to the table? How does it stack up against the Realme 9 Pro? Let's find out in this video review. Let's start off with the core specifications. Realme has gone with the MediaTek Dimensity 920 SoC, which is also found in the recently launched Xiaomi 11i series. This SoC runs at a maximum clock speed of 2.5 GHz and is manufactured using a 6nm fabrication process. The phone supports several 5G bands along with dual 5G standby. It also has Wi-Fi 6, Bluetooth 5.2, and the usual satellite navigation systems. The device is powered by a 4500 mAh battery. Here's a look at the India prices and variants of the new Realme 9 Pro Plus. We are reviewing the top-end variant. The Realme 9 Pro Plus is available in 3 RAM and storage variants. There's a base variant with 6GB of RAM and 128GB of storage, a second variant with 8GB of RAM and 128GB of storage, and the top-end variant with 8GB of RAM and 256GB of storage, which is what I received for review. And this begs an interesting question. Why are the Realme 9 Pro Plus and the GT Master Edition priced similarly? The Realme GT Master Edition offers a 120Hz refresh rate display, but lacks the superior primary camera sensor and optical image stabilization of the new Realme 9 Pro Plus. We all love options, but that also makes it harder to pick a smartphone, especially when they come from the same brand. Your choice in this case will ultimately boil down to whether you want a better display or camera. And now that we're done with the specs, let's take a closer look at the Realme 9 Pro Plus's color-changing rear panel. The Realme 9 Pro Plus is available in 3 finishes: Midnight Black, Aurora Green, and Sunrise Blue. Of these, only the Sunrise Blue finish changes color when exposed to sunlight, just like the Vivo V23 Pro. Realme's version of the same color-changing process enables the 9 Pro Plus to switch from a glossy sky blue color indoors to a shade of maroon. Apart from this, the Realme 9 Pro Plus's design looks like that of any other Realme smartphone. It has a polycarbonate frame with flat sides sandwiched between 2 sheets of glass. The phone is quite slim, measuring just 7.99mm, and it feels comfortable for one-handed use mainly because of its low 184 grams weight. The Realme 9 Pro Plus's display is flat and has a hole-punch front-facing selfie camera. There's also a noticeably thick chin below the display. The 6.4-inch AMOLED display is made of Corning's Gorilla Glass 5 and has a maximum refresh rate of 90Hz. Sunlight legibility was quite good and text and images look sharp. The Netflix app was not available because I had a pre-production unit, but I was able to test streaming video using Amazon Prime, which worked well. The phone had some trouble representing accurate colors when viewing HDR shows, and they were pale and muted, nothing like how they should have looked. Realme has said that the fix for this issue should be rolled out soon. Standard definition content appeared just fine with deep blacks. The experience came together well thanks to the phone's stereo speakers, which sounded loud and clear. Another interesting thing about this display is that its in-display fingerprint reader is said to be capable of measuring heart rate. Realme says this is still an experimental feature and it's only usable if enabled in the Realme Lab section of the Settings app. And now, let's talk about Android 12. Realme 9 Pro and 9 Pro Plus are some of the first phones to run Realme UI 3.0, which is based on Android 12. The first thing you will notice is tons of pre-installed third-party apps. These can be uninstalled, but there are also some Realme branded ones that cannot be. Realme UI 3.0 is not as heavily customized as Vivo's FunTouch OS, for example, and is more similar to stock Android, which makes it gel well with the new material design of Android 12. While certain features of Android 12, such as the powerful new search Get the Boot, the privacy dashboard and related features have made it. You can pick colors from the wallpaper you choose and they will be applied to interface elements such as notifications tray toggles, settings menu icons and so on, like on a Pixel phone. However, the implementation is a bit buggy. The revamped Android 12 widgets from Google Apps and the Google keyboard don't seem to change color along with the rest of the UI. In short, a bit of fine-tuning is still needed. Despite the bloatware, Realme UI 3.0 ran buttery smooth, and the 90Hz refresh rate display made UI interactions feel quite fluid. Gaming performance was also quite good. The phone ran Call of Duty Mobile at the default medium graphics and very high frame rates without any issues. I didn't notice any drop in performance when these settings were bumped up further. For some reason, Asphalt 9 Legends kept crashing on startup, so I tried Real Racing 3 instead. It works smoothly without any hiccups. And now, coming to the most important part of the smartphone, yes, it's those cameras. The Realme 9 Pro Plus skips on the 108 megapixel camera of its predecessor in a favor of a 50 megapixel primary camera, which also happens to have optical image stabilization. It's not just any sensor but a Sony IMX766, which we've only seen in more expensive phones such as the Oppo Reno 7 Pro and the OnePlus 9 RT so far. There's also an 8 megapixel ultra wide angle camera and a 2 megapixel macro camera. Selfie duties are handled by a 16 megapixel front facing camera. Daylight photos look clean and sharp with good dynamic range and details. HDR was a bit aggressive and colors were a bit oversaturated. Portrait photos taken with the front as well as the rear cameras came out sharp and quite detailed with good dynamic range. Edge detection was also quite good. Photos taken with the ultra wide angle camera were surprisingly usable. They were not as sharp as the ones shot on the primary camera, but had good dynamic range along with minimal barrel distortion thanks to software correction. The macro camera was useful even though the results appeared a bit over-sharpened. In low light, the Realme 9 Pro Plus would automatically keep its shutter open for a second longer to gather more light. This was without turning on the AI mode. Images shot in low light, even in auto mode, came out quite sharp, and dynamic range was also good thanks to the OIS. Switching to night mode brought out even more detail. I was also impressed with how easily the Realme 9 Pro Plus allowed me to capture such long exposure shots using the street mode without the need to stabilize it or mount it on a tripod. Videos recorded at 1080p looked fine and were stabilized well, but were not as sharp as I expected. 4K footage limited to 30 fps showed good details and sharpness but were quite shaky and looked a bit choppy. The results were similar in low light. The Realme 9 Pro Plus managed an impressive 23 hours and 36 minutes in our HD Loop video battery life test. I managed to get a day and a half of regular use, which involved some gaming and camera usage. This is good for a mid-range device. Charging was also quite quick. The phone charged from 0 to 80% in 30 minutes and was fully charged in 15 minutes using the bundled 60-watt charger. Realme surely seems to have done a good job of putting together a very capable mid-range smartphone that does not focus on the numbers but instead delivers on nearly all fronts at a sensible price. The slightly less expensive Realme 9 Pro has a 120Hz peak refresh rate display, a 5000 mAh battery, and a 64 megapixel camera, which actually make it seem better than the Realme 9 Pro Plus on paper. However, the Realme 9 Pro Plus has an AMOLED display that can reproduce deeper blacks, 60-watt charging, and a more advanced primary camera sensor plus OIS. Despite their similar pricing, the audiences for these two phones are quite different. The Realme 9 Pro will appeal to gamers who want a higher screen refresh rate, while the 9 Pro Plus is clearly aimed at those looking to shoot better photos. And that's it for our review of the Realme 9 Pro Plus. Did you like Realme's new addition to its number series? Are you a fan of the sunrise blue finish? Let us know in the comments below. And as always, for all things tech, stay tuned to Gadgets360.com.